really tipsy. I don't know what was in them.
You disappeared for like...
Hey guys.
What's up?
How's it going? We're getting ready to leave, so... Is that cool?
Jeez.
What?
Behind you.
Oh my god, it's the biggest wall of nerd I've ever seen!
So much nerd.
Okay, so Gogas, tell us all about this wall of nerd. Let's start at the top here. What do you got here?
God, what do I have up here? Some World of Warcraft figures that I got at an anime convention once. Behind those are Samba de Amigo maracas for the Dreamcast, the yellow boxes. But they're terrible, and the sensors are like the worst things ever.
Yeah.
So, but the boxes are like, they're huge. So I never throw anything away, so I just kept them. A DDR ignition pad, which was one of the best dance pads that Red Octane made before. Except for the metal ones.
Yeah.
Then Activision bought them and put them out of business. We have some like a Super Nintendo controller, some Guitar Hero Rock Band stuff. I have both Dreamcast boxes. That's just one of them. The other is in another box somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I actually bought a second backup Dreamcast just in case my first Dreamcast died because I love the system so much. And when the Dreamcast went down to $50, I should have bought 5 of them, but I didn't. Well, there's only one there, but there's a second Donkey Kong Jungle Beat ones that I got at GameStop for like $10 for 2 of them. PS2 box. I was really late to PS2, so I got the end PS2 model. So DJ Hero, and that's like an actual Sega Dreamcast like official carrying case. I got really big on carrying cases for a while.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of system carrying cases.
All right, here we go. Second shelf.
The Daedalus Encounter, which was a full motion video game with Tia Carrere.
Still in the box?
Yep, still in the box. Sealed with some tape, but I don't think it's ever been opened.
Okay.
We have an old Nintendo dance pad, NES Advantage, which was the best arcade stick for the Nintendo. We have Nintendo 64 games in here in this official Nintendo carrying case. We have a Model 2 Sega Genesis, Model 1 Sega Genesis, another Model 1 Sega Genesis down here. We have an old Nintendo, which this thing broke. Okay. There's another Nintendo down here somewhere too. Game Gear in another Game Gear thing that I found at a thrift store, and it was like $1. Nobody really knew what it was. And Virtual Boy, and we all know how sad that was. And some Virtual Boy games, about 7 of them, like Tetris and Red Alarm. Red Alarm I thought was really cool. It was like Star Fox, but you couldn't tell where you were going since everything was just red and black. You couldn't tell what was, what was a like a barrier or not. Yeah. Some Atari Lynx games that are still sealed that I don't even have a Lynx for. I found this at a thrift store too. There's a Game Boy in it, and some douchebag kid drew all over it, but it's a really neat case. What else do we got? Another World of Warcraft thing. The Sega 32X, which was, that was another sad story. And all the 32X games, Super Nintendo Super Scope. A couple weird, random Genesis games, like Virtual Racing. This was $100 when it came out because it had a special chip inside of it that did extra polygon processing. But even then, it didn't really look very good. So, there was also one time we built with my old roommate. We built one of the highest functioning Sega Genesis systems. What you gotta do is you gotta put the old Sega CD, the old Genesis, a Game Genie, the 32X, and then Virtual Racing, and you had the highest still functioning Sega system you can get. An entire line of PS2 games and Xbox games. I played about 10% of them maybe. Old Super Nintendo games, which, some classics like Final Fantasy III, but this one's pristine. Super Castlevania 4, one of my favorite games ever. ActRaiser. A lot of old Super Nintendo games. A lot of them I got, really cheap as the Super Nintendo was going out. I have 3 Shaq Fu's. I got them for $2 a piece. They're terrible. This was a Super Nintendo multi-controller.
Multi-pack.
Yeah, multi-pack that, but in the shape of the Bomberman guy, which is awesome. The Super Bomberman with 4 players was amazing. A Game Gear that is actually from Japan, from one of my other roommates. He had picked one up at an old shop, so it's Japanese and all that stuff. Okay, we have a Atari game still in the box. Dig Dug, it's still sealed. There was an old guy that I got, or some guy on eBay that was selling stuff like that for a penny with $1 shipping. So I got lots of stuff there. Lots of N64 games in boxes. GameCube and all the GameCube games. And then Austin brushing his teeth.
Yes.
He just goes right there. Some Dreamcast games, some Sega CD games. Sega CD was terrible. I have like 3 Echo the Dolphins. I'm not sure how that happened. Some old Sega Saturn games, and that was super rare. Like Magic Knight Ray Earth, and I never had Panzer Dragoon Saga though. That's like one of the rarest games to have. Old PlayStation games and some Dreamcast, legit
Panzer
Dreamcast
Dragon
games.
is a huge deal.
Yeah, what?
Panzer Dragon is a huge deal.
Yeah, that was an amazing game. Here's a 3DO game. Look at the size of this box that they came in. They were so huge.
How big is the actual game itself?
Oh, it's just a CD. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. Okay, down here we have a working Nintendo, the 2 different zappers, because people were like holding up banks with those, so they released it with red. Some Nintendo, what else? Nintendo and Super Nintendo Game Genie. What do we got? We also have the Super Advantage, which is the Super Nintendo one, and it looks like a Super Nintendo, like with the plastic.
Yeah.
This was a U-Force controller that was an infrared controller that you would play with your hands with a Nintendo. It's a Nintendo carrying case with an old Nintendo inside. So you have 3 Nintendos. Only one of them works. Xbox games, an Xbox, the PS2. Then so we went from gray to black. And then we have an Asteroids game for an Atari. I have no Ataris. I actually kind of play those games. And on the bottom we have all the gaming magazines, old Game Pros,
Game guides.
yeah, EGMs, and Game Informer, which is the only surviving one. And here's a weird item.
Okay.
From the guy that would sell, Dig Dug for a penny. He sent me a whole bunch of games in this. And here's I wrote my P.O. box in it. And I was about to throw it away, but then I was like, wait a minute. Super Nintendo, Space Invaders, 6 pieces. In here, there would be, this is when they would sell games to GameStop. I guess they would put, 6 or 10 or however many games in here. And this is the game, and this is what they would send to the distributors. So the guy sent me, he didn't realize that this was a box that, was actually used. So I thought it was a neat item.
That is neat.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this amazing tour of the Wall of Nerd.
Look at how much it tilts though.
Yeah.
Dataless encounter.
Yeah.
It's going to come down one of these days. So.
Yeah, I need to adjust it a bit.
All right. Well, thank you, Gogas. Bye.
Bye-bye.